Hey, welcome to Seattle Short Bus Sessions, starring the Short Bus, if I can get this camera to point in the right direction. And also co-starring all these little chickens that are super cute. And they're not dinner, they're just going to lay some eggs and look cool, doing happy chicken stuff. But I wanted to shoot this short little video. Just reach out to other Seattle-based musicians, people who want to throw down some live music at various maybe iconic Seattle spots overlooking beautiful vistas and people throwing fish and whatnot. And we're going to take a little tour of the bus because Capitán Pato Loco has been very generous to offer his chauffeur services and his bus to do some concerts on. Let's take a tour. All right, so we've got a bag of trash. We have some Reese's and Twix ready to snack on. It's winter, or has been winter, and so this quickly became kind of a crash pad for partiers that had a little too much to drink, or whatever one does whilst partying. So the idea is such that I wanted to do a couple things. Have musicians on the bus playing some songs, and original material, or what I call original covers. Anyway, the point being that we are going to do some shows on this bus. I also wanted to do some what I call anatomy of a song, which is breaking down a song as it's developing. I love songwriting. It's probably the only thing I do well, or feel like I do well. And I've been doing it for over 25 years, and I feel like I can help other people write songs, people who are blocked or maybe haven't written many songs or what have you. So I just wrote a tune last night, and I thought, well, before it gets too polished, because there's a whole process involved, I could break it out and break it down and fuck it up, and do it kind of raw like that, and then see how it develops over time, and whatever else comes up. So that will be the next video. You can tell my voice is already kind of raspy because I've been singing it, which is what tends to happen when the muse strikes, as she is wont to do. Yeah, so I hope you all are surviving the microapocalypse, and you know, wash your hands. But yeah, there's more to be done than just washing your hands. So sit down and write a song. All right, talk to you soon. Okay, welcome to Seattle Short Bus Sessions numero uno. So you know, if you watched the previous video, it kind of explained what we're up to here. Myself and Capitán Pato Loco. I am Rusty Jonz, the Irreverend Rusty Jonz. And I'm here with a song that I just wrote last night. This is one thing that we'll be doing in the Short Bus Sessions, which I'll be doing, and hopefully I can get other local songwriters to do this as well, which is basically to break down a fresh song. I'm calling it Anatomy of a Song, and we're trying to arrive to the song when it's still fresh, when it's still raw, when you don't even have the frickin' chords figured out, or you're forgetting the lyrics, not sure on the melody, blah, blah, blah. Why? Because there is gold in them thar hills. And there really is. When the muse takes hold and she offers up something, there is a special connection there. And I wrote this song last night. The lyrics, for me, lyrics and music, separate. Like, they come, generally speaking, they come very separate. And And in any event, this morning threw down a couple chords, and my voice is pretty hoarse right now because I've been, having at it a bit. Not in excess though, because as you'll experience, I don't really know what I'm doing. So just kind of putting myself out there. All right, so the lyrics are below or somewhere in some direction, I don't know where. And in the general vicinity, you'll find them in case you're interested. And I'll probably, mumble my way through. The song is called Sutra 1.2. It's at least the working title. So if you're familiar with Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Sutra 1.2 is Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which loosely translates that yoga stops the fluctuations of the mind, or the purpose of yoga is to stop the fluctuations of the mind, the vrittis. All these vrittis in my head, man, get them out. With that being said, and that out of the way, let me just give this a shot. Of course, these paths like twinning streams of old world daddies churning dreams. There seems there's something left unclear somewhere about our atmosphere. You chose the rod of glimmer light and set yourself upon it. For me it was the darkest nights, robbed of your lips and sonnets. It tends to breed a tear to bear the tidings of the fall, and bends towards the nearest star, but always beckons more. It's contrapuntal time, balanced at the center. It's everything and nothing more than legs of me to enter. Seek to understand what has no form. To count the raindrops in a raging storm. Seek to still the bleeding mind to find what lies within you. Peace that passes all understanding. Seek to understand what has no form. Count the raindrops in a raging storm. Seek to still the fleeting mind to find what lies within you. What peace that passes all of understanding. Seek to understand what has no form. Count the raindrops in a raging storm. Seek to still the fleeting mind to find what lies within. The peace that passes understanding. Of course, these paths like twinning streams of old world daddies churned dreams. There seems there's something left unclear somewhere about our atmosphere. There seems there's something left unclear somewhere about our atmosphere. Since there's something left unclear somewhere about our atmosphere. All right. Well, that was that. It's a wrap. Hi again. Welcome to Seattle Short Bus Sessions. It's always a mouthful to say. Hopefully I'll get used to saying it quite a bit. So this is kind of the part 2 that I forgot to, because I realized later that I forgot to talk about the song, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. That is the song that I just played, which Sutra 1.2. And I just did cover a couple of notes on that, and hopefully intended to stimulate your own thought process, your own creative process. And by the way, if you hear some banging upstairs, I'm down in my basement, not on the short bus at the moment, and they're finishing touches on a new kitchen in the house that I live. But I live in the dungeon, anyway. All right, so a couple things. So this, I'll put this down below somewhere, but it's the lyric sheet, which started a couple nights ago like this, notepads worth of scrawl and scribble. It always helps me to then, I love to see things on the page and then print it out. It helps me structurally also to organize the song. And very often, so I made a mention in, I think, the last video before I played the song, that, you know, that the music and the lyrics come separately, and usually lyrics come first, but I can have a piece of music that I don't have lyrics to, and somehow I find that things match up over time. If you collect enough bits here and there, and even sometimes I'll throw, you know, a pad's worth of paper on the ground, or various loose sheets, and the lyrics will come from, I'll draw lyrics, the verses, that is, from one poem, one piece that I was working on, and from some other day, some other incarnation, I will draw the chorus from a different thing. And because I am the same individual, I am always drawing from the same, you know, kind of, we all have our own little sweet spots, our own little go-to themes that we tend to write about, and go-to images and analogies and what have you. And so there's always a consistency, even if it's non-linear, even if it's you know, hinted at but not made specific. There is a kind of a color scheme from which we draw individually that seems to always overlap or coordinate, right? So that's my idea anyway. It may not be that on the receiving end, but creatively, that's what I experience. And it's great to, I always think about, you know, John Lennon, like cutting up what ended up being Revolution Number 9, and piecing that together in some sort of random way, and working with randomness, which isn't actually randomness, it's just a more complicated algorithm. We can talk about that sort of esoteric stuff later, but in any event, so it helps me to write things out as would, you know, as one would a piece of poetry. And then this particular song, just kind of the way it wrote itself, really, the way the words came, and you know, to chorus or not to chorus, that is the question. And in this case, it seemed that what the song asked for was just several verses leading into a chorus, which then kind of was I repeated 3 times, like a mantra. Mantras are also something I do, singing a kind of mantra-like type of music, and I like that to, very often, even in a particular pop song, at the end, you know, if it's especially a great chorus, you know, typically they want to leave that in your ear as an earbug, and so it'll be repeated, you know, 3, 4 times, which is always great, because, you know, but why does that work? Why does that work? And likely it is that there's something about that we call the hook, you know, there's something about the repetitive nature, whether it's the message or the particular melody that's happening or the riff. It's almost like the nugget that they want, the nugget of a message that they want to send to the receiver, and so that's what I ended with. It seemed like as the song was written, that last piece, the chorus that I sang 3 times, felt like the chorus, but I didn't want to do verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. You know, that's great for a pop song. It's great for many of the songs that I write, and then I like to mess things up and do things differently sometimes, as the song dictates. The other mention I want to make is that there was a bit that, you know, at first, as the song was evolving, it was just A, B, and then A, because I returned to, like, bookend the song with the first verse. But then there seemed like I wanted a little bit of variation, so that last verse became like a pre-chorus, or look at it as a bridge if you like. So it built up, it kind of ramped up into the chorus, and for that I just varied the chords a little bit and went into a kind of a minor feel. I don't bother myself too much with theory, and primarily because I'm lazy, and it pretty much self-taught, so that works in my favor, and it works to my disadvantage too, because on the one hand I'm not distracted by all the mental monkeys, all the vrittis, as we might say, about, oh, is this, you know, in the key, is this not in the key, yada yada. I kind of just feel it out. On the other hand, it's always good to be able to tell a musician that, you know, wants to sit in or whatever, what key a song is in. And as it turns out, because I have like 12 different tunings that I made up, I never know what key I'm in. The key of life, I like to say, me and Stevie. So anyway, point is that, I'm not sure what the point is at this point. Other notes, what else did I want to talk about? Right, so in terms of lyrical content, I tend to write from a little bit of stream of consciousness, but that never lasts long. So the abstract, I love being abstract. It's just, but I find that if you look at pop songs, being specific and relatable is always good, I suppose. It's just not how I write. So, you know, so I had a professor years ago at Evergreen that had to have the talk with me, which is the difference between public art and private art. And he said, you know, Russell, it's fine. It's Terry Setter, who I loved. And he said, it's fine if you want to write abstract stuff and, you know, play 8-minute songs, but, you know, really kind of don't expect people to either get it or want to listen to it. So you always need to keep your audience in mind, or don't keep your audience in mind, and it can either be a truly self-oriented act, or it can be something that you want to communicate. But if, you know, if you're trying to communicate really abstract things in abstract ways, there's a very select audience, for example, for bebop, you know, or for atonal music. There's a very small niche market for that kind of stuff, and it probably won't go viral. Speaking of going viral. All right, so I think that about covers it in terms of songwriting. yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me wherever this is posted. I think it's going to be posted at my YouTube channel, so find me there, rustyjonz.com, and maybe I'll throw something up, Seattle short bus sessions. All right, thanks, namaste, ciao.